This is Deep Water team, and we are here to present our work at the AIS Big Data Hackathon 2020. We are glad have been accepted to this event, and we are really happy to present our findings through this presentation today. We'd like to present our team.
Hello guys, my name is Deborah Doimo and I'm an analytics expert.
Hello, Rodrigo here. I'm the innovation specialist.
I'm Luis Roma, I'm innovation specialist also.
Hello everyone, my name is Gustavo and I am IoT expert.
So I'd like to share with you our value proposition, which is we believe that we can provide a tool that will guide your actions and guide our actions around the world based on data, right? We have few platforms that we put few samples in the screen that can show us what are the capabilities of a data-driven enterprise or data-driven operations. And this, we believe that is the most important thing that from our work. We'd like to share with you the findings based on our hard work of reading and studying on articles and books on the internet. And we made these world challenges comparing the panorama in the world and in Brazil. So there are a lot of loss, millions of dollars for operations around the countries, which exceeds, for example, 10 million reais in the port of Santos. There are dollars being wasting in all countries. There are pollutant emissions and CO2 emissions, which are contributing to greenhouse effect in our globe. And real life incidents and accidents at the sea, which are causing and putting actually people's life in danger. And the influence of maritime transportation is high for the global economy, right? It represents 90% of the world trade, and it's estimated that only in the Gulf of Aden, there's a $25 billion trade loss per year caused by pirate attacks, which is huge. And in Brazil, this is not different. Port of Santos is the biggest port in the country, and there are social and economic tensions in this region, and other ports, right? There are invasions and violations of laws. So based on this economic, social, and political context, we create a solution, and we'd like to share with you the deep water solution. But first, we'd like to share with you our approach. So we divided our perspective, our work in three processes. First one is the ideation, which we studied the AIS big data, the global platform from the United Nations, and the data research and the maritime study. The second part was the discovery section, which we tested the data sets, the external data sets. We mounted up a GitHub repository, and we started to test algorithms and models. And the third was the prototyping, which we separated the tables, the subsets. We prototyped the business intelligence for visualization. We created a web portal, and we finalized, completed the demo for you. Our score is based on the four names that you're seeing on the screen: the polluting ship score, the mental score, the crazy weather score, and the health score. I go in deep in the following sections. So first of all, I'd like to show you the framework of our solution ideation. We will represent this first case so you can understand our idea building. We had a brainstorming to understand what would be the variables and what would be the things that may cause ships to pollute seas and countries around the world. So we came up with this very high hypothesis, which is what are the risks that we want to solve for a vessel? We had a democratic consensus here, and we selected the pollutant ship score, which would be measuring the chance that the ship on the way on a journey that it will pollute the air, water, land, and everything across the trip, right? Based on oil data, CO2, waste, and etc. And to compound this score, we had a few variables that we put in this list. So the measure of incidents year to date, the notifications of environment accidents, the climate phenomena, the vessel performances, and equipment conditions. The basic, we would like to say the basic solution design would be the exploration of the AIS big data using PySpark SQL programming. Then we would have this process for transforming the data within the external data, which would enrich our content with, for in this example, with CO2 and climate external data sets. And this generates us sub-data sets, right? We have the pollution score algorithm code, which is based on a training data set, will help us to understand the behavior of the ship and the behavior of the pollution created from a ship. And then we could visualize this data on a BI platform. And then we call the ship score at deep water for United Nations. The next score is the crew score, which was based on the risk that we wanted to avoid passengers and crew during a trip on a ship. And a few variables also studied and worked during the hackathon. Would like to highlight here the trip conditions, immigration incidents, drug consumption, and vessel inventory, and also passengers and crew variables. They are pretty pertinent for this analysis. And the solution design would be pretty much similar to the previous one, but we are using different external data sets, right? It will compound our crew score at deep water for United Nations. The third score, which is the cargo score, would like to avoid damages in our cargoes, to avoid also loss of product quality and loss of money in operations. And the difference in variables to compound the score are the two below, the port delay and the pirate ships. And the last score would be the health. And the problem we wanted to solve is would we be able to measure the chance that a ship will incubate the reproduction of a disease, virus, bacteria, whatever, and other animals, and transmit it on during a journey. So to have this question answered, we would have to gather external data such as infectious disease algorithms, outbreaks, notifications passed, physicians' input, and also wearables.
When we started the hackathon, the first thing we did was connect to the AIS Big Data Hadoop server to start looking at the data available and start thinking of what could be the initiatives that we could develop using that data available. We spent a lot of time looking through through it, researching the information that we have over there, and we came with several ideas in what we start working on. The first one was to start looking on the availability of incidents on the data set to see if you could find a correlation. Also, we start to check if it was a relation between the average speed that the boats were doing and fuel consumption with other informations as well. As well looking at a shadow area regarding the data transmission from the boats to the ground servers to ensure that all the information was transmitted to the relevant parties. And after analyzing all the possibilities that we could find, we ended up choosing to go to the forecast that we're going to be showing after this video.
This is the forecast how-to. Port of Santos is the biggest in Brazil, and the cost of delays are high. The problem of delays in terminals causes extra expenses to companies and operational issues to the staff. These are the reasons we decided to forecast the number of ships anchored per day to understand the demand for the facilities. The data was extracted using PySpark 3 notebook. The methodology is profit model, which is a Facebook's algorithm, and we trained the algorithm based on 200 files, of a 1-year history of that port. This training process was ran out of the UN platform due to technical limitations. So let's go to the code. The first part of this code is a join process. Here we are looping all the 200 files we got from the AIS big data, right? The second part is the part that we count the number of ships moored per day. The idea here is to understand and to get the register of the history of that port, the Port of Santos, and we save this history in a data frame called df-trainer. The third part, the last part of this code is where we get the df-trainer, the file we get from the history of the port, and we exercise the model, plotting the forecast curve. We can see in the bottom of this notebook that we have the forecast curve. The prediction has a good accuracy and precision in the first following months, which is the blue line. The black dots are the data used for the training, and the blue section around the line is the variance. We can see that the farthest we are from November 2020, the more growth in error we see, and more the variance increases. So that is it for the forecast model. We came up with a prototype visualization in business intelligence platform, and we have four scores in here. For the first one is the sinking risk zone in the middle of the ocean. Have the risk severity in case of equipment fault. We have the cargo theft zone of risks in the ocean, and the fourth is the life danger zone for passengers and crew. The next stage we have two directions. For United Nations challenges, our proposal is to improve the score by capturing new sources of external data. In addition, we'd like to improve the accuracy and precision of their algorithms. And for our team is to launch this startup. Come to stay with us. We are the Deep Water team. Thank you very much for your time.